In this demo, we're going to look at an easy way to delete items from DynamoDB using Java. We're also going to cover something called as conditional expressions. So watch the video till the end so that you can learn something pretty interesting here. So as a part of this particular demo, we're going to use a very simple table called customers. It has three items in here. The primary key is ID, and then there is an additional attribute called location. So we're going to focus on this particular item, which is Mary 1, and then location UK. So we're going to, remove this one. Also, you can see that this particular table is actually available in US East too. So we're going to use this region when we start typing up the code. So let's look at the code for this one. So you can see here that I have a very simple class. There's really nothing here called DynamoDB test. And then if you look at my pom.xml, I have three dependencies. One dependency on Amazon SDK DynamoDB version 2.2074, and then a couple of other dependencies related to SLF4J for logging purposes. So let's get started with the coding of this one. So the first thing is create the logger for this one. So private static final logger SLF4J logger is equal to logger factory dot get logger DynamoDB test dot class. So boom, we got that. So we're going to create the public static void main here because it's a simple demo. So we're going to just focus on doing this pretty straightforward in a pretty straightforward fashion. So the first thing that we will need is a DynamoDB client. So DynamoDB client equals DynamoDB client dot. We want to set up, we want to use the builder pattern here. So we would use the builder. And then the first thing that we want to do is set up the region. So the region is the US2, and then click on build. So now we have the client. So to be able to go and then delete an item, we would use a class called delete item request. So let's go and then use delete item request, create an object of this one, delete item request. This follows a similar builder pattern as well. So let's actually set that thing up. So I'm going to use a new line here. The first thing that we need to set up here is what is the table from which we have to delete. So that the table name is customers. And then the next thing is what is the key. The key in this scenario is a map of string and attribute value. So let's go and create that. So we're going to do map of the key is ID, and then the attribute value helper method that we will use is attribute value dot form as because it's a string, and then the ID that we are looking at is Mary1. So we got that thing set up. So it's now as simple as doing client dot delete item, which would take in a delete item request, and the response is delete item response. So we will pass in the delete item request. We'll catch the delete item response here, delete item response, and then we're going to log this one. So let's actually go and then deletion is. Let's go and then look at this one, delete item response dot SDK HTTP response, and is successful. So super simple, close to 6 lines of code, maybe 8 lines of code, whatever that number is. So let's actually go and run this one. So click on run. So this is going to go and then connect to the DynamoDB table and then go and then delete. Okay, so the deletion is actually true. So let's actually go and then check in the AWS console to see if it's been deleted. So we have the row. Let's refresh this one. Awesome. So the item has been deleted, Mary1. Now let's actually go and then run this one again. And let's see what the behavior would be. Would it be deleting it again? That's interesting, right? So you see that the deletion is true again. So this is a very interesting situation with the delete item request here. If you actually look at the documentation for this particular class, you'll actually see, I've just highlighted this one. So delete item this is the DynamoDB client, the delete item method documentation. So you can see that one here. It says that unless you specify conditions, the delete item is an item protect operation. So running it multiple times on the same item or attribute does not result in an error response. So that's really the reason why we are seeing true here. Even though the item doesn't exist, it basically still gives you the same response here. So let's see how we would want to delete something based on a specific condition or existence of something or value of some other particular attribute. So to be able to test that, let's actually go and then add this row back again. So I'm going to create an item. The item is Mary1. I'm going to add an attribute here. The attribute is location, and then we said the location is UK. So let's add this item back again. Okay, so we got this in place, Mary1 UK. So let's go and then start, configuring the condition expressions to do a conditional delete. So the way to do conditional expression is pretty straightforward. You can see there's a method called condition expression. The expression that we're going to use here is that we're going to use a location key, and then we're going to check that against a location value. So just follow with me along, and then I'm going to explain what these things actually mean as I type up the other ones. So that's the expression that we want to check. Right? We want to make sure that Mary1 has to be deleted only if it has an attribute called location, and then the value of that location is UK. So that's what we're going to do here. So we specified the condition expression. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to provide the attribute names. So what should hash lk be replaced with at runtime? Right? That's what this particular thing is going to set up. So we're going to provide a map of uh, what we're saying here is we're saying whenever you're resolving hash lk, resolve that to an attribute called location, right? So because our attribute name is called location, that's what is the left side of the equation is here. It's going to when the condition is expressed, is evaluated, hash lk will be replaced with location, and then whenever we need to, it needs to it looks at colon location, it needs to replace that with some value. So let's actually set that thing up as well. So we're going to map off, and in this scenario, it's going to be hash location. Sorry, column location, and then it's going to be attribute value from as, which is we said UK, right? So we actually want that to be from that to be as UK. So what did we do just now? We actually are now saying that okay, from table called customers, look up for an ID called Mary1, but then don't delete that yet. Delete that only if a specific condition is met. In this scenario, what we're saying is if the condition is location equals UK, only then go and then delete it. And then this is a way of setting up the condition. And then these are the resolution attributes that you're going to use to be able to evaluate this into a proper condition. So now let's go and then execute this one again, and then see if this thing goes to success. I just clicked on run. So the deletion is successful. So let's go and then refresh. Okay, it's been deleted now. Now let's actually go and run this again and then see what happens. So previously, when we didn't have the condition expressions, it actually succeeded, but boom, now we see that this thing actually failed. So what this tells us is if you want to make sure that something has been deleted, for sure, or if the delete item request actually went through successfully, you can actually use condition expressions to make sure that when you rerun it again, it actually either succeeds if it exists, or if it doesn't exist or doesn't pass, it actually fails. So this is one way of doing it. I'm going to do another demo, rather a deep dive demo on condition expressions and various ways of using condition expressions in several different aspects. But for this particular demo, um, this is a good start. Hopefully you like this particular video. Give me a thumbs up, and if you like it, subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much. Thanks for your time.